Good morning. Today we will start with entropy. We will start with constant specific heat approximate analysis. That is, Cp is a function of temperature. So Cp will increase with the increase in temperature. Means with increase in temperature, molecule become rare. And to raise the temperature of those molecules, we have to part more amount of energy per unit of mass. Assuming constant specific heats for ideal gas is a common approximation, and we use this assumption before on several occasions. It usually simplifies the analysis greatly. The magnitude of the error introduced by this assumption depends on the situation at hand. For example, for monotype gas, ideal gas, such as helium, the specific heats are independent of temperature, and therefore constant specific heat assumption introduces no error. For ideal gases whose specific heats vary almost linearly in the temperature range of trust, the possible error is minimized by using specific heat values at the average temperature. So the entropy change relations for ideal gases under the constant specific heat assumption are easily obtained by replacing CVT and CPT in equation. So you can replace with the average instead of because for a particular temperature range of T2 T21 we have to take CPC average. So your entropy change will become this one, and it will become this in case of constant pressure. Now entropy changes can be also expressed on unit mole basis by multiplying this relation by molar mass. So this equation can be written as here. It can be represented in mole Kelvin also. Variable specific heat analysis. So when the temperature change during a process is a large, specific heat of a ideal gas vary non-linearly within the temperature range. The assumption of constant specific heat may not lead to be considerable. For those cases, the variation of specific heat with temperature should be properly counted. So instead of performing this, we have to find the specific heat at different temperature, means at 300, 310, 320. So this is here. We had calculated the specific heat at different temperature. So obviously S0 is a function of temperature alone. Instead of performing these laborious integrals each time we have a new process, it is convenient to perform these integrals. Once the tabulate results are formed, means we will previously found, you can see initially we will start with the tables. We will form all the tables and later we can use this table to find these values. Obviously S0 is a function of temperature alone and its value is 0 at absolute 0. The value S0 are calculated at various temperature and the results are tabulated in the appendix as a function of temperature of air. Given the definition, the integral process here is becomes S2 naught minus S1 naught, where S0 naught is the value at temperature T2 and S1 is the value at temperature T1. It can be expressed as unit mole basis also. The same expression can be written over here. It can be expressed on unit mole basis. So note that unlike internally energy and enthalpy, the entropy of ideal gas varies with specific volume or pressure as well as the temperature. Therefore, entropy cannot be tabulated as a function of temperature alone. You can see here, means to find the entropy, we have to take into pressure as well as temperature both. So with the change in from 1 to 2, we have to take a schematic of TS diagram, for example 7 to 9. So this is you can see here entropy change of ideal gas. Isotropic process of ideal gases. For ideal gases, several relations for isotropic process of ideal gases are developed. If the process is isotropic, it means in the this entropy change is 0. We had left with only this equation. So we are left with this equation, log T2 by T1 is equal to minus RCV by log V2 by V1. And when you further take this value at the power in the log, you will get, log will cancel on both sides, you will get T2 by T1 at a constant entropy is equal to V1 by V2 raised to power R by CV, where we know R is equal to Cp minus Cv or K is equal to Cp by Cv. So you can replace R by Cv in terms of your ratio of specific heats, which is also known as K, or somewhere it is written as gamma. So this is the first isotropic relation for ideal gas under constant specific heat assumption. The second isotropic relation is obtained in a similar manner. So instead of volume, you can also replace with the pressure, because PV is equal to MRT. From that you can replace volume with the help of pressure. So these two relations are used for the calculation purpose of in case of isotropic process. The third isotropic relation you can equate these two equations, which will become PV raised to power K is equal to constant. So we have three relations for isotropic process. TV raised to power K minus 1 is equal to constant. If you generalize this relation for T and V, it will become TV raised to power K minus 1, and this relation becomes TP raised to power 1 minus K by K, and this relation become PV raised to power K constant. So the specific heat ratio K in general varies with temperature, and thus an average K value for the given temperature range should be used. So these ideal gas isotropic relations above, as name implies, are strictly valid for isotropic process only when the constant specific heat assumption is appropriate. Reverse is steady flow work. The work done during a process depends on the path followed as well as on the properties at the end states. Recall that reversible quasi-equilibrium moving boundary work associated with closed systems is expressed in terms of fluid properties. So boundary work is equal to PdV from 1 to 2. We mentioned that quasi-equilibrium work interactions lead to maximum work output for work producing devices and the minimum work input for work consuming devices. It would also be very insightful to express the work associated with steady flow devices in terms of fluid properties, taking the positive direction of work to be from the system. Work output in energy balance for a steady flow device undergoing any internally reversible process can be expressed in differential form. So this is the equation: Q reversible minus work reversible is equal to dH, enthalpy change, kinetic change, potential change. We know that Q reversible is equal to TdS, so we can put this here in the expression, and TdS is equal to dH minus VdP. So after solving you will get this equation: change in work reversible is equal to VdP plus kinetic energy plus potential energy change. So if you integrate this, you will get this equation. If kinetic and potential energy change are neglected, you will get work reversible as VdP. So the relations for reversible work output associated with an internally reversible process in a steady flow device, they will give a negative result when work is done on the system. To avoid the negative sign, can be written for work input to steady flow devices such as compressor and pumps. So in case of a steady flow system, the work reversible is equal to VdP. In case of closed system, work reversible is equal to PdV. So if you integrate this, after integration you will get work reversible is equal to minus V, P2 minus P1 minus kinetic energy minus potential energy. So obviously one needs to know V as a function of P for the given process to perform the integration. When the working fluid is incompressible, the specific volume remains constant during the process and can be taken out of the integration. So now you know, because for steady flow of liquid through a device that involves no work interaction such as nozzle and pipe, the work reversal is 0, and as work reversal is 0 for nozzle and pipe, the work term is 0, and the equation above expressed as Vp2 minus P1 plus V2 square minus V1 square by 2 plus Z2 minus Z1 is equal to 0. And this equation, in case of where there is a no work like nozzle and pipe, this equation is called Bernoulli's equation in fluid mechanics. It is developed for an internally reversible process and thus is applicable to incompressible fluids that involve no irreversibility such as friction or shock waves. So this equation can be modified, however it is used for a number of places. So from this equation, one more observation: if the amount of V increases, the amount of work will increase. Means V is your specific volume. So the larger the specific volume, the larger the reversible work produced or consumed by the steady flow device. This conclusion is equally valid for actual steady flow devices. Therefore, every effort should be made to keep the specific volume of a fluid as small as possible during a compression process to minimize the work input, and as large as possible during an expansion process to maximize the work output. In steam or gas power plants, the pressure rise in pump or compressor is equal to the pressure drop in the turbine. If we disregard the pressure losses in various other components in steam power plants, the pump handles liquids which has a very small specific volume, and the turbine handles vapor whose specific volume is many times larger. Therefore, the work output of the turbine is much larger than the work input of pump. This is one of the reasons for the widespread use of steam power plants in electric power generation. Because of the large amount of difference of turbine work and pump work, we were able to produce net large amount of work. So if we were to compress the steam existing the turbine back to the turbine inlet pressure before cooling it first in the condenser in order to save the heat rejected, we would have to supply all the work produced by turbine back to the compressor, which is not fairly good. So in reality the required work input would be even greater than the work output of the turbine because of irreversibility present. So that is why we usually condense the steam in power plant to minimize this specific volume of the vapor so that compressor work can be reduced. In gas power plants, the working fluid, typically air, is compressed in the gas phase and a considerable portion of work output of the turbine is consumed by compressor. As a result, gas power plant delivers less net work per unit mass of the working fluid as compared to the steam power plants. This is a TS diagram for the gas turbine, or you can say steam power plant. Not for gas turbine, it is for steam power plant. So this 1 to 2 work is for pump work, and this 2 to 1 is here is your expansion work. So if you compress the liquid here from 1 to 2, this much amount of work is taken by the pump. But if you compress the liquid from 1 to 2, then this was much will be the work which we have to transfer to the pump, because here specific volume is more as compared to at this point. So that's why in power plant we will condense steam from 1 to, from this portion is your condensation. So we condense steam from here to here, and then we compress the liquid fluid and we raise its pressure because specific volume at here is very less. So we had here a proof that steady flow devices deliver the most and consume least work when the process is reversible, like compressor and turbine. So from the steady flow equation you can write this for actual as well reversible. In actual case we know work is always less, but in reversible case the work is maximum. We have to prove it. So this is your steady flow equation in case of actual. This is steady flow equation in case of reversible. So now what you have to do, just suppose the right hand side of these two equations are identical, since both devices are operating with the same states. So these two sides are identical because these are operating with the same states, the maximum you can say same states. So you can equate these two equations. So we can replace this Q reversible by TDS in this equation. So this equation becomes when you replace this Q reversible by TDS divided by temperature. So here divided by T, you will get this equation here. So now in this equation it is clear that this part is ds is always greater than this part. Change in entropy is always more than in as compared to the this part. So this ds is more, it means this whole quantity must be positive. If this quantity must be positive, it means the work in reversible is always greater than work in actual. Therefore work producing devices such as turbines deliver more work, and work consuming devices such as pumps and compressors require less work when they operate reversibly. So this is up to here about the steady flow devices and reversible steady flow work. Subscribe this channel, like this video. Thank you for watching this video.